why it seems weird to be doing a social class this way, because we've been doing so many of them with Zoom, which we're going to do tomorrow again. But we're just kind of doing like a little segue lesson today, which is there's not going to be too much that you need to write down. So we're going to be reflecting upon your amazing work, first of all, from yesterday, and then kind of taking it a little bit of a step further to see, well, like, okay, well, what's actually happening with democracies now? Like, are the pillars strong, or are the pillars more so cracked, and maybe even like more cracked in some ways than we might necessarily see or believe? Okay, so first of all, let's see here. Okay, so the first thing that I'd like you to do is please go on to Seesaw. I think maybe like 8 people or so have already done this. That is amazing. So please go on to Seesaw and just fill this out. So all you have to do is circle 2 areas, okay? So this top one was for making the pillars stronger. So if you had an idea that's accurate, that would be here. A CA would be ideas. So you have 2 ideas and they would be like accurate and strong. And then an E, again, you have 2, at least 2, well thought through examples. So that means like at least 2 with examples included, like related to like proof of what you were talking about. So like specifics, like specific examples. Okay. And then same thing for the bottom one is this is just like what would cause cracks in the pillar. If you just mentioned an idea, cool, RA. If you had ideas, so that means ideas to make the pillar weaker is well thought out and with relevant and realistic examples, okay? So that's where you have like 2 of them. And then this one is 2 or more that are well thought out with relevant and realistic examples that like related to something specific. And a lot of you guys did this, so that was great. Yeah, good. So basically if you were specific, then E, as long as you had like 2 or more examples. It's really, really, really good though, you guys. It's so well on that. Okay, so next what we're doing is getting a little bit more into, thinking more about these like countries. Okay, so what do you think here the cartoonist is saying? What do you think the cartoonist might be saying in this? Like what do you think? Don't panic. This is for one day only. Okay, well, what's happening here? And like what do you think the cartoonist is saying? Okay, so I'm not gonna talk about this right now, but I want you guys to post some of your ideas onto our Edmodo page. So you're gonna see I'm gonna post this lesson, and then over top of this lesson, I'm going to post, there's going to be 2 different images which I'm going to post, this being one of them. So what do you think the cartoonist might be saying in this comic? Okay. All right. And maybe like what might be happening at the time of this comic being said? Could be a couple things, I guess. What do you think? This could apply in a lot of different ways, right? Because it's not just like they don't label the pillar, which kind of creates it much more open to our interpretations. You could even think of this as like your own pillar. Okay, next one is, now this is also kind of cool to think about. Okay, how are democracies strengthened? So does the internet, and this is a cool cartoon also, as we see, these are different apps, right? Like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, right? And Snapchat, like, are those, so we see the roots of them, this is very interesting, the roots of the internet are seeping into this pillar, right? But what is it causing in the pillar? Okay, this is up to your interpretation. Is this strength? Or, like, is this like showing a stronger foundation? Or is it causing it to weaken? What is your opinion again, and why? So this is actually a super cool thing as well to think about. So I'm going to post this as well. And you guys can, talk about this. Like, in your opinion, like, what do you think? Do you think that democracy is being strengthened or weakened? And then are there countries around the world that would demonstrate like the view that you have? Like, are there some countries that you think, like internet 100% is strengthening democracy? Or might there be situations where you think that, I don't know about that. I think that the internet is actually like weakening the democracy and making it more cracked. So, and this is the cool thing, there is no right or wrong answer. So it's totally based upon your opinion. I'd love to see what you guys think of that. Okay, now, this is kind of the other thing. We're going in a little bit into like a different segue here. So how are democracies strengthened? Well, okay, and a lot of this roots back to what we learned about for ancient Athens. Like the most pure form of democracy was, well, Iroquois Confederacy with a representative democracy, and then ancient Athens with a direct democracy, because everybody who was, I guess there were flaws, right? Like only citizens, but if it was true form of democracy, like like a utopia kind of thing, it would be every single person gets to vote on every single thing. So people power democracy. And the more voices that people have, then that's sort of what's thought to give strength to a democracy, to kind of like find the cracks in it and then hold the governments accountable, which we're going to be getting into those methods a whole more like kind of coming up over the next little while. So, okay, so first of all, as the Magna Carta outlines, which we learned from before, people must all be treated equally without one being above the other, right? Like King John, that was the worst. He thought that he should just get everything and everyone else underneath him shouldn't. So his people started like, no, we want to hold you accountable to that. I don't think so. So when this happens, like when there is power to the people, they can have a huge impact on their societies by helping to inform government policies and directions, and also through the formation of laws, right? Like government policies, government directions are all written down somewhere. And the more kind of like impact that people have on that, it's thought to be that those are places that are kind of seen to be a bit more democratic. Okay, so in Canada, what happens under the rule of law? Like, what is it? So we're going to read page 47, and this is where I want you to just make a couple of notes. It's not that hard. Okay, so this is page 47 in our textbook. Okay, so there's certain things here under the rule of law which it states in order to help strengthen the democracy. These are things that Canada believes in that should be happening. So I just want you to read through this and this and this and this, 4 little things, okay? And then just make some couple like brief little notes on on that. So what do you think? Like you can, I don't want you to copy this directly, okay? That's not what I'm asking. Do not copy this, because you could just be like a monkey. Don't do that. Instead, read it and then put this into your own words. And even a better strategy would be to draw a little symbol, something that's like a quick visual to look at that you're able to say, oh yeah, okay, that instantly makes sense when I look at the picture, because a picture usually says 1,000 words. Okay. Right on. Okay, so far we have 2 things that we're thinking about for like your comics, your opinions. I want you guys to post that on Edmodo, and then you're just making a couple little notes on what happens under the rule of law. Again, this is kind of like that sort of, I think it'll all kind of make sense to you. Like we've talked about this stuff before. Then, okay, now this is the last little piece that we're doing today and this is what we've really kind of been talking about, or you're going to see this thing that's called Lady of Justice. Now, she's in the textbook, also here on page 47, okay? Now, she's a very, 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 very famous symbol that would be typically this like Lady of Justice symbol would be outside of a courtroom, related to people who did the Pillar of Justice, Lady of Justice, right? So outside of a courtroom, she would normally be presented there. Kind of looks like Statue of Liberty. This one does, and there's many, there's many different representations of the Lady of Justice, because the symbols that she has are so powerful. So that's related to our last question, which is gonna be posted on Edmodo today, is what symbols can you detect? Okay, so there's a couple symbols within here. What do you notice about her? Well, she has a sword. And this sword represents that she is making a decision. So I guess in like the olden days, okay, yeah, like she's the one who's like handing out punishments, right? So that's her job, is with one hand, she's handing out punishments. And then with the other hand, what does this represent? Okay. Oh, right. That's the other thing. And you obviously notice that she's blindfolded, right? So why do you think the statue is blindfolded? What do you think? Why? And then, what do you think she is weighing with the scales? What do you think might be sitting here? And what do you think might be sitting here? Okay. And also even kind of like notice the way that she's standing, right? Like, yeah, like also notice that like her ears are open, right? They're not covered. This isn't really covering up her ears. Okay. So that's kind of it for today. So these things here, I'm going to post this picture, and then you have to just kind of do those little notes in the textbook, and then I'm going to post this Lady of Justice, and then you're going to talk about why do you think the statue is blindfolded, what do you think that she's weighing with the scales, okay? And then these other two up here, okay, maybe let's just say this. You can pick, I think it'd be cool. You probably have thoughts for both of these, but if you want to just talk about one of them, that's cool too, but I'd like you definitely to comment on this bottom one. Okay? So that's it for social studies today. So the reason I want you guys to comment on Edmodo so you guys can see what each other is also saying. Yeah. And then tomorrow we're going to do more kind of like with something a little bit different tomorrow on our Zoom. Okay? So that's it for today. Just a couple of little reminders. I guess just you'll post right away after this, after you've made the notes on page 47, and then double check that you have everything done, please, for math. Mainly that has to be posted. So there's some people that have to still do morning math number 1, which was assigned yesterday, which I wanted to go over today, but please make sure you do that. Okay. All right. That's it. And good job, guys. See you later.